We're going to be talking about some of the lies, which sounds kind of negative, but a lot of them are really lies, you guys, slash myths that a lot of people don't talk about, that you won't hear a lot of people say. And I actually hear people say like a lot of crazy information out there. So I always say, friends, we keep it real on this channel. If you like the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between about reselling, I am your girl. Don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 20,000 subscribers. Lie number one, reselling is passive income. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say this on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and I'm like, what? This video idea just came to me. I was just processing, I actually counted this. This is closer to 100 items. I was processing this, and one of my group members DM'd me in Discord, and she was like, I was just watching this guy on YouTube, and he says that reselling is really passive income, and she is brand new, and she was like, do you agree with that? Because, you know, that's why I got into reselling, because all these like TikTokers and YouTubers I watch said reselling is passive, and I am like, what? So I did a little research, and lo and behold, friends, there are so many people that are saying that reselling is passive income. Reselling is not like real estate. Even real estate, if you're new around here, I am a licensed part-time agent, but I'm also a real estate investor, you guys. Even real estate as an investor is not passive. My tenants call me all the dang time about a plumbing issue, about they need a new fence. Like, there are certain, it's way more passive than reselling, but even real estate is not totally passive. You guys, reselling is not passive at all. If you are not consistently listing, consistently sourcing, consistently checking comps and seeing what brands are selling, what brands are hot, you are not making money. So passive means you do one thing and then you take your hands off of it and it's making you money. I'm trying to think of something. Stocks. Stocks can be passive, but I'm very strict on what the word passive means. Like I said, passive to me means I do it once, and you know what's passive, in my opinion, that can be completely passive, is being a YouTuber. You literally make a video once, it goes out into the YouTube algorithm, and hopefully it makes you money. Most of the time it doesn't. I literally make pennies on the dollar doing this, you guys. I'm not getting rich off of YouTube. But that is what I would consider passive income. I'm literally getting views while I sleep, and I'm not doing anything else to that video. I don't touch it. Once it's out there, that's it. That's passive. Reselling is the antithesis of passive, you guys. And please don't let people fool you into thinking so. I'm not trying to say like I'm better than anybody. I try not to do too many preachy videos back to back, you guys, because yesterday's video was kind of preachy about the top 5 mistakes that have cost me a lot of money. But I think you guys are finding these helpful, so I'm not trying to sound preachy, you guys, but from someone that has been doing this for a very long time, 17 years, makes me feel so old to say that, reselling is not passive. There are ways that you can make it a little more hands-off, and I've started implementing those in my business. Basically starting in like 2020, like there are automation tools that you can use. If there was no automation, I don't know that I would sell on Poshmark. I've always been very honest with you guys about that. That's one of my pain points with Poshmark. So I am so grateful that a lot of that stuff is automated now. But I even use, like you guys know, I use Vendoo to cross post. So I put one listing on Vendoo and then I can push it out to eBay, to Poshmark. They have all the platforms, Mercari, everything. So I am so grateful that automation has made this job a little easier. But honestly, you guys, I feel like that's why reselling is going to be like one of the last, hopefully one of the last careers that's really affected by AI, because it is really not passive at all. It requires you to be so hands-on. So I just wanted to start with that one, because that is so far from the truth that reselling is passive. You have to consistently be working on your business in order to make money. You guys already know I have a list. I am that nerdy girl that makes lists for all her videos, because I want to make sure I don't forget any of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I want these to be as helpful as possible. And we kind of touched on this on yesterday's video. Higher prices equal more profit. I literally just watched a guy's video today where he was basically saying that he buys things for super cheap, and this is his business model. He buys things for super cheap, he prices them super, super high, like way over what everyone else is selling their item for. Let's just say, for example, a North Face jacket. He gets it for $2 at the swap meet, and he'll price it at like $120, and he's like, yeah, it'll sit for years, but it sold. And he was using that example that I think it sold for like $105 or something. And so he had it for 4 years, you guys. And so I've just heard a lot of resellers talking about higher prices equal more profit, and it's really not true. And I talked about this yesterday, how I used to make this mistake, and I would overprice things and they would sit forever. I actually did this not too long ago, a couple years ago, when I bought my first liquidation palette. I bought a Revolve palette, and because everything they sent me was so saturated, there were so many of these Revolve items listed on Poshmark and eBay, I priced them way over what everyone else was pricing them at, and I was like, I'll just wait it out. And you know what? We are now 5 years later, and I'm still waiting it out. That palette had about 400 items. I think I have like 80 left. Like, how ridiculous is that I have 80 of these things left? It's coming up on 6 years ago that I bought that palette because I priced too high. And if I've learned anything, and I've learned a lot from buying that first liquidation palette, I've told you guys this many times, the first 10 years of my reselling career was like 99% thrifted and like maybe 1% retail arbitrage. Like, I've always been a huge thrifter, but I made that mistake with that first palette, and look, I'm stuck with over 80, it's closer to 100 items 6 years later. So don't always think, friends, the higher you price something, the more money you'll make, because maybe it won't sell, or maybe the market tanks on that brand or that item. So I always say, I'm not telling you how to run your business, I'm just telling you what works for me. And after doing this for a very long time, and as I've mentioned before, the name of the game for me is to put the money in the business and pull it out, the profit out, as quickly as possible. Turn and burn. I don't want to have items for 6 years. I just don't want to. And I'm pretty sure that none of you watching this want that either. I don't know, that guy, a lot of people have that business strategy, and if that works for you, that's his like main strategy. That's what he does for almost all of his items. If you've got the time, if you've got years to let things sit, I do not, and I think most of you do not. So I wrote down some tips, you guys. Obviously, check sold comps, use sell-through rate, and this is my personal opinion, be willing to take offers. I would say on a monthly average, probably 60% of my sales are from offers, you guys. I take offers on all platforms. You don't have to. A lot of my friends, they just price at what the recent sold comps are, and they're like, you can pay it or not. I don't want to deal with offers. It's fair market value. I like to offer comps because, like I like to let people make offers. There we go. Because, like I said, it brings more attention to my stores. Some people, maybe they don't want to pay for market value, and maybe I really need to pull out like $1,000 from my reselling business. And if I didn't have offers, maybe I wouldn't be able to do that. So, you know, sometimes I will sell things below what other people are selling it for because I'm desperate to make a sale. And that's one thing I love about reselling, you guys, is that you can do this so many different ways. You can say one day, I don't want to take offers, and then the next week you can say, you know what, I need to make some money. I'll take some offers. I'll run a big sale. I'll send out coupons. Like, there are so many different ways to pull out the money when you need the money. And so for me, it's just worth it to take the offers instead of holding on to something at that price that I have in my head or that price that others are selling theirs for. Sometimes it's just worth it to make the sale and take the offer, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on offers down below. I'm really curious if any of you don't have offers on. I always find you guys so fascinating, and a lot of you do great doing it, but yeah, if you care to comment, let us know how that works video. I'm having a huge live sale, like over 100 items. I'll link that live sale down below, but I was supposed to be processing this stuff and organizing it. This is all listed. I just have to organize it on my clothing rack for the live sale, and I'm not even doing that because I'm too busy yapping. That's all right. Number 3, BOLO lists are all you need to make money. You guys, if you don't know what a BOLO list, it means be on the lookout for. These are like the hot brands that are selling right now that everyone's talking about. And so many, especially newer people or people that just want to learn will be like, if I know these brands, I'm going to make money. As long as I learn these brands and I check the sell-through rate, I'm going to make money. But as most of us know, these brands, like I've said, it's a roller coaster, you guys. It's up and down. Some brands can be trendy today and literally fall off a cliff tomorrow. And just because something was a BOLO a year ago, like literally doesn't mean that it's a BOLO now. They just come in and out of demand so frequently. That's why I do try to do these BOLO brand list videos like at least every quarter. I would love to do it every month because that's how frequent these things change, you guys. So, and so many people like hoard these BOLO lists. I even have one. If you want a link to one, I created a little ebook. I'll link it down below. I created it last year. They can be helpful, right? But I just don't want you guys to live and breathe by these BOLO lists. Like when you're out thrifting, one of my group members was like, yeah, I have like 10 BOLO lists saved in my phone and I reference them while I'm out thrifting and that's how I know what's good, what's not. And I'm like, oh my, sending her this long DM like, well, you know, let's expand outside of those lists. Make sure you're not just looking for just those items because you might be limiting yourself to other amazing things. So I feel like a lot of you know this, but this might be more helpful for the new people. Don't live and breathe by the BOLO list, you guys. And BOLO lists need to be updated really frequently. And just because someone says it's a great brand for them doesn't mean it'll be great for you. So, you know, take everything with a grain of salt, even everything you hear in this video. Don't let anything offend you if you live and breathe by some of these things that I'm talking about. But just, you know, take everything with a grain of salt. Definitely look at the BOLO list. They're definitely helpful, but I just get like a little scared for those people that are just living and breathing by those lists, and that's it. Like, I feel like such a nerd, you guys, with my little cheat sheet. By the way, I have been updating like little guides slash ebooks in the Discord group. I always link it down below. This, for you group members, this will also be like a little ebook. I've been enjoying getting really organized here on my channel, you guys. I used to just sit down and film a video and talk to you like I'm talking to a friend, and I'm still doing that now, but I'm getting more organized with my thoughts. Like, I literally have video ideas popping in my head like 20 times a day, and I would never write them down, and then I would forget about them. So now when I get these ideas, you guys, I literally draft up a little cheat sheet. I draft out what's in my head, what I want to talk to you about, and then from this draft, I create like a little ebook for my group members. This is the type of stuff I love. I'm very, if you couldn't tell, type A, like analytical. I love data. So yeah, group members, this should be in the group in like a day or two after this video. So you guys are gonna have like 50 ebooks that you can reference. But remember, just like I said for the BOLO list, don't live and breathe by them, but you guys know that. All right, lie number 4, list it and forget it. So I just had someone tell me this today, like, oh, when I list an item, I just list it and that's it, you guys. And I don't think about it for years. She doesn't do inventory, like she doesn't look at it, she doesn't change photos. And I can tell you, friends, and I've talked to people at Poshmark and eBay that work there that have said that the algorithm rewards activity. So whether that be you're listing frequently, are you relisting items, are you changing the photos, are you updating the title, are you updating the pricing? All of these platforms reward activity. All of those things I just mentioned are some type of activity. So if you don't have a bunch of items to list, like I've got 100 items here that I just listed. If you don't have a bunch of items to list, that's okay. Can you relist some items? On eBay, what I do is I end the listing and then I do sell similar because it gives new data, new information to that listing. I recommend never doing relist because then it won't create like a new listing for that item. And eBay told me that when you do sell similar, don't just like relist the same thing with the same title and everything. They said you need to change up a couple things with the listing. Like I will change some things in the title. I'll change some of the item specifics. I will change the pricing. A lot of times I'm lowering the pricing if I've had that item for over 6 months. And then I push it back out, and eBay kind of looks at that as a new listing. So remember, on eBay, when you end it, don't do relist, do sell similar. So a couple of tips that I have for listing it and forgetting it, and how we don't want to do that. It really does kill your profits, you guys. If you've just had something sitting for over a year, like that guy who said he just has items sitting for years, I feel like I know he could be making so much more money if he didn't have items. He has thousands of items that just sit for years. That just kills your store's algorithm, you guys. It's not good. eBay wants to see you listing things, selling things, and listing more things and selling more things, because in the end, that's how they make more money. That's just the facts. eBay and Poshmark want to make money. They're businesses. But we are small businesses, and we want to make money also. So holding on to this stuff forever and listing it and forgetting it is not the name of the game, in my opinion. So delisting and relisting on Poshmark, or delisting and sell similar on eBay. Of course, you know I'm a big fan of offers, and I also do price drops. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about that, but I just briefly mentioned it. I will do inventory twice a year, every 6 months, and when I'm going through and I've had something for 6 months, I drop the price when I'm relisting it to try to get that item out. And stay active as you can. Some people don't like when I say this, but I list 5 to 7 days a week. I'm not saying you guys need to do that, but I am a part-time reseller, and I want to pull as much money. I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because like I said, a lot of people will get mad at me and be like, well, I don't have time to list 5 to 7 days a week, and I don't know how you do that. Like, I just can't do it. And are you basically saying I'm gonna fail because I don't do that? I'm not saying that, you guys. I am just saying, and I feel like many people will tell you, you have to be active in your stores to get sales. Whatever that can look like for you. If you need to schedule listings in the future, if you can only list 3 or 4 days a week, whatever you do, do it consistently to keep the algorithms happy and to keep the sales coming in. So whatever that looks like for you, space it out however you need to. For me, I've just found that the sweet spot is minimum 5 days a week listings going up. That's why a couple years ago I hired a virtual assistant, because I was like, all right, I actually can't juggle all of this. I need help. I was pregnant, and it was COVID. I was working full time. So I hired a virtual assistant, and it's been a game changer, so that when I'm not listing, she has listings going up, and we're working a week in advance. So right now, like everything that's going live in my stores, we listed a week ago. My ultimate goal would be to get a month in advance. She and I have been like trying to map this out, how we're gonna do it, but I think we can do it. She and I think by like April, we could be a month in advance. It's gonna be a lot of grinding, a lot of hard work, a lot of sourcing and listing. Like literally, for me, it would probably mean like listing 40 a day, minimum 40 a day to get that far in advance. But when you get that far in advance, you guys, it's such a game changer. Like if you have a sick day, or if your kid has a sick day, or you just don't want to freaking list for a day, you are so far out in advance that you have that time to just take the mental break and not even list. Because you know what? Things are being published already that you listed a week ago. This is a big one. I kind of talked about this in yesterday's video also, but I see so many sellers that will share their sales, and they're not talking to you about net profit. So they're not talking about the eBay fees, the Poshmark fees, the shipping costs, the sourcing expenses, selling at a loss, whether you realize it or not. And it is scary, you guys. You will see video. I've even made a video. If you haven't seen that video where I had my highest sales month ever on Poshmark, I was doing a ton of live sales, like 4 to 6 a week. I made $26,000 in sales in 1 month. And I even explicitly say in that video, in the first 2 minutes, this is sales. This does not include the fees I pay for my storage unit, because we live in a really nice large condo, but I can't store my 1,000 active listings in this home. So I pay a lot of money for a storage unit here in Los Angeles. That doesn't include taxes, shipping, the fees. That doesn't include my cost of goods. And I am very explicit about that. And I said I will update you on that once I've done all my numbers, okay? And a lot of us, myself included, we'll share our sales number. I shared that sales number, you guys, because I was proud of myself. I was working full time. I was pregnant with our second kid. We were getting married in a couple of months. And I was like, you know what? I kicked ass. I did this. Had my best sales month ever. I'm going live all the time. I will tell you, it was the month that I was realizing I could never do this full time. I think I overloaded myself, but I shared that sales number because I was impressed with myself and I wanted to share that with you guys. But I do think as resellers, especially those of us that have like a social media platform, it can disillusion people to think like, oh yeah, I could definitely make $26,000. I did not make $26,000. My profit margin is usually about 50 to 60%. I think that month it was literally like, it was like 14.5 after everything. Cost of goods. My storage unit at the time was freaking $900. I've since moved to a more cost-effective storage unit. Get this, you guys. The storage unit I had was so old. I think it was built in 1989 or something. I was paying close to $1,000 a month. I moved to a new storage unit and I'm saving $400 a month, and it's bigger. So lots of tips in this video. If you have a storage unit, definitely shop around, you guys, because you never know in your area. There might be like a newer storage unit that wants to get residents, and so they give you an amazing deal. And I got an amazing deal, especially where I live. Storage is just so expensive. So you have to know your numbers. I got off on a tangent because I myself am one of those influencers that will be like, oh my gosh, I sold $5,000 in 2 minutes. You can too. Maybe you can, but how much out of that $5,000 did I actually take home? Okay, so just keep that in mind while you're watching these videos. They can be helpful, and for me, I like to watch them, honestly, because I find them inspirational. One that I watch a lot is Kaylee Elaine. She does like weekly videos. She's a full-time reseller. I'll link her channel down below. She does a full-time reseller, and she has a team, a couple people, I think. They have an office, and they're doing like 1 week she did $10,000 in a week. And I found that so inspirational. And I love that in the beginning of the video, she like breaks it down. Here's what I sold on Poshmark. Here's what I sold on eBay. But then she goes even further and says like after expenses and everything, here's what we made. And then she'll say, but this does not include me taking out taxes and everything. So I love the transparency. I'll link her channel down below. Gloria also does, you guys know I love her. She cracks me up. I love her channel. She does it too. She's full-time, and she'll tell you like, this is what I made, and break it down. So I just want you guys to keep it in your head as you're watching us influencers and people doing these videos. If it's just the sales number, remember there's cost of goods, there's taxes, there's shipping, there's all of those things, okay? And you want to stay on top of that. Don't just look at what you've sold for the month. Don't just look at your closet insights on Poshmark and be like, oh my gosh, I sold $10,000 a month. I'm making so much money. But if you're spending $10,000, you're not. Obviously, you guys know that. You guys know a lot of people like to use spreadsheets. I use QuickBooks, self-employed. I love it. I was trying to find a referral. They don't do referral. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I've paid for it with my own money for years. I love it. So use something to track your expenses, understand platform fees, and know your actual profit margins. You gotta know that, friends. Like I know for me, on a good month, my profit margin is 60%. On a bad month, it's 50%. Make sense? You know what I'm saying? So like, for example, if I have $10,000 in sales for the month, on average, like a bad month, I'm taking home $5 grand. On a good month, about $6 grand. On a really good month, 70%, but that has very rarely happened because I live in California. Like, they tax you for everything here. They tax you for everything. And then, like I said, my storage unit is an expense. Gas is more expensive here. Everything is just freaking more expensive here, you know? So that's why I'm usually happy with like a 50 to 60. Some of you might be like, wow, 50%, that's it? I just did a quick little Google search and I said, what's a good profit margin for a business, a small business in America? A good profit margin for a business is generally considered to be around 10% as an average, with 20% being considered high or very healthy. With anything below 5% can be seen as low or concerning depending on the industry. So I was like, wow, because sometimes I say like to people who aren't resellers, they're like, oh, what's your profit margin? I'm like, oh, 50% on a bad month. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, do you guys know most companies run on such a lean profit margin that's really great for a small business? I will link this down below. Oh, Investopedia says it's actually 7 to 10%. Remember, friends, if I forget to link anything down below, I read your comments, you guys. I don't respond to all of you because I just run out of time. But if I ever say, oh, I'll link something, just tell me in the comments and it'll remind me, hey, Nikki, link this, so I can remember to link it for you guys. So I always end with one of the ones that I think that is most important. I should have led with, you can't do this without tracking your numbers. Honestly, friends, I feel like if you've watched my last 2 videos, you are like ahead of 90% of other new resellers, because yesterday's video, I was talking about mistakes that have cost me thousands of dollars, and I feel like that would be so helpful. If I could watch that video 17 years ago, I would be leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I first started, because my first couple of years of reselling, I was literally just a buyer. I was not selling much. So I'll link that video down below. Hopefully you learned something from this, found it helpful. I think for the next video, we're gonna keep it light. These last 2 videos were a little bit preachy, you guys. We're gonna keep it light on the next video. I have a couple mystery boxes coming. I have a Goodwill palette video coming. If you guys ever have any video requests of things you want to see, leave them in the comments down below. Like, do you want a sell-through rate video? Should we do some deep dive videos on what's selling? You guys let me know. I mean, I am willing to try anything. I have a long list of video ideas that I plan on doing, but I really want to do videos that you guys want to see. So don't forget to subscribe. If you like chats like this, consider joining the group. It's linked down below. You can cancel at any time, you guys. It's 25 bucks a month. I call it my like happy little, I call you guys my happy little corner of the internet. You guys are so sweet. But I offer wholesale deals in there. I'm about to post a pre-owned wholesale deal. I think I'm doing like $6 a piece and like a small fee for shipping. I've sold Skims to the group members. I've sold Rent the Runway, Lululemon. So I post weekly deals in there. We have AI that does like inventory updates for us. There's a whole page that explains everything. I'll link it. I always link the group down below, and then you can check out and read about it. And I always forget to tell you guys, you can cancel at any time. There's no commitment. You're not locked in. Anytime you want to cancel. So, okay, friends, I'm gonna half of this, most of this is listed. I'm gonna go photograph some of the stuff that needs to be photographed. My goal for these, I'm just chatting at this point, for my live sales is to really try to have a lot of stuff listed. So when people come into the live sale, they can actually like see what I'm selling. That is my goal while I rebuild my live selling career. If you are new, I went fast and hard with live selling and then I quit, basically. I like started on Whatnot in 2022. I always forget if it's 2021 or 2022. And I was addicted. I went fast and hard. I literally sold like 1,000 items in 3 months. And then I took this huge break. And then I started going live on Poshmark. And then I went fast and hard. I got pregnant. I burned out. And I took like 6 months break. And so now I'm back to it. And I don't want to go fast and hard like that anymore. It's just not realistic for my lifestyle. I just want to go consistent. I just want to go live on both places, like once or twice a week on both Poshmark and whatnot. So that would be like at minimum 2 live sales a week. Like that is very doable for me. What I was doing before, and the reason I was burning out, is because I was doing like 4 to 6 live sales every week while working full time and being a mom, a wife, a daughter, a family member, cooking, clean. Like it was too much. And that's why I burned out. I can go, you guys. And I'm grateful that I have that type of personality, and I'm not pushing hustle culture on anyone. I know there's like a big anti-hustle culture movement. I'm not pushing that on any of you. I'm just sharing myself, like who I am. That is who I am. What people call hustle, that's just natural for me. So I can do it, but then I'm like, okay, I need a break. And that's not good for live selling, because when you take long breaks like that, you basically have to start over from scratch. Like your audience will leave. You have to, your loyal people will come back. Like right now I have like 20 people that stay in my live sell, which is great considering I like disappear for months. But I was at a point on Whatnot in 2022 where I would get like at least 100 people every live sell. And then I totally lost that momentum because I just disappeared. Like people and whatnot, they're like, who are you? Like what? So I am in the rebuilding stage. I always try to leave like live selling updates at the end because I know a lot of you do not give a flying poop about live selling. A lot of you aren't live sellers. So I try to put that at the end. This isn't the end though. I have a lot more stuff in this video. It's going to be a long video. Grab a snack, grab a drink. Did I ask you to subscribe? We talked about the group. Did I ask you to subscribe? We are so close to 20,000 subscribers, you guys. If you have made it to this part of the video, why aren't you subscribed? YouTube shows me that like 50% of you watch all the way till the end of my videos and you aren't subscribed. It's free. I'm here multiple times a week, hanging out, unboxing things, going thrifting, preaching about don't do this, don't do that.